You can't rush a moment, so don't even try, don't even try. There's a symphony you're missing. If you only listen, you'll find big magic in the mundane, the big picture in a small frame. Everything is sacred when you take time to notice. Big love happens in the small moments. Big love happens in the small moments. There's no use in chasing nickels and dimes, nickels and dimes. Riches all around you. Open your eyes, open your eyes. You can't buy the peace you're after, so don't even try. 'Cause you'll find big magic in the mundane, the big picture in a small frame. Everything is sacred when you take time to notice. Big love happens in the small moments. Big love happens in the small moments.
Tumbling on the seas, far away from dry land and its bitter memories, casting out my sweet life with abandonment and love. Love ceiling bearing down on me, save the starry sky above with light in my head. You in my arms.
you do, honest you do, honest you do. Oh, you thrill me, darling, you thrill me, baby, you thrill me, honest you do, honest you do, honest you do. At first, thought it was infatuation.
Please be seated. Well done. That's how you make an entrance. Nicely done. Good afternoon. I am Drew Smith-Simmons, a celebrant from Humanity is Scotland, and Emma and Scott have invited me to lead their ceremony today, and I am absolutely delighted to do so. Scott and Emma have chosen a humanist ceremony as they feel this best reflects their beliefs. For humanism is about a concern for humanity and the natural world. We believe that every society needs a moral code if we are to live together in harmony, and that morality comes from within us. It's about unselfishness, kindness, and consideration towards other people, about taking responsibility for our lives and our responsibility to the world. As we get started, we should thank you all for travelling from far and wide to be here today. I know some of you have come from Stornoway, from London, and even from Paris and Spain. Emma and Scott also wanted to take the chance to say a heartfelt thank you to their parents for everything you have done to help them get here today, and for your constant and unwavering support over the years, they said. We should definitely thank the fabulous people up here that Emma and Scott have chosen to stand by their side on this most important of days. In fact, they even told me a little bit about each of you. Hannah, which one's Hannah?
Me.
Hello, Hannah. Hannah, oh, you didn't know about this bit? No, clearly. All right. Hannah, Emma told me how close you two are, how you rely on and look out for each other. She said she loves your compassion, your kindness, your generosity, and is proud to be your sister. Helen. Yes? Helen. Emma told me you have been best friends since primary through dance lessons, drama classes, a first concert together, hearsay, and living next door to each other at university. She told me that she loves your wonderful, infectious personality. And Jenny. Emma told me you have always been there for one another since meeting at Aberdeen University, a friendship that deepened back in Edinburgh when you went hunting together for the best restaurants and brunch establishments. She told me that your enthusiasm is like sunshine whenever she is with you, and she knows that she can always count on you. Gentlemen, prepare for a bit of a change in tone here. Jamie. Scott told me you met in high school where he took pity on your terrible hairstyle, which improved in time for your gang with Angus and Buchanan to hit the pubs and clubs of Pitlochry and Dundee. Scott told me he loves that you are an extremely weird man with an incredible sense of humour and off-the-chart level of charisma. That is one way to compliment and insult you at the same time. It's beautiful. Now, Miles. You have the right of reply a bit later. Scott told me you grew up together in Highland, Perthshire, and bonded through football training, working together at the House of Brewer, and countless sporting activities such as cricket, tennis, weightlifting, and as teenagers, ineptly trying to charm young ladies. Scott told me that you can talk enthusiastically about anything at all, and just being around you is good for anyone's mood. And so, with that said, Jamie, Jenny, Helen, and Hannah, you may now sit down too. Hannah, if you'd like to go first, I think, and lead the way. Miles, stay where you are. There are seats for you reserved there. My sound lady at the back, you can hear me okay, yes? Thank you. And Jamie, when you're ready. Okay. Knowing Emma and Scott, as you all do, it will come as no surprise to you that this is going to be a unique ceremony, and one that connects with the community and the history of Scotland. One way they're going to achieve that is by saying their promises to one another while holding an oathing stone. In Scotland, there is a long tradition of believing that promises made in contact with stone etches those promises into the rock itself, binding them forever to weather any storm and time itself. Emma and Scott chose some fabulous stones from a secluded beach at Mallaig, from the waterfront at Applecross, and while stone skimming in Ullapool. Yes, in Ullapool. Now, these stones have been beautifully decorated by Scott's young nephews, Rory and Fraser, wherever they are. Thank you for doing that, young gentlemen. And Miles, we have selected this stone. Miles, if you could pass it to the lady on the back row on the left. So what you're to do here, you've got an important job. You're going to warm the stone in your hands, close your eyes for a moment, and with all your heart, make your best wishes for Emma and Scott's future, for their marriage, their happy future, and then pass it to the person next to you. So the stone will come along the back row, gradually, and then the middle row, and then the front row, and it'll end up back at the front corner here, thank you, for when we need it in a moment's time. So, with that explained, it's a good point to ask Scott's sister, Rianne, to join us to read a poem written by you? Written by Emma herself. It was so nicely written, I couldn't believe it, but it is by you, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, there you go, Rianne. Say it to the back row.
Okay. So, the map in your pocket. We are only just people on a globe so vast, full of oceans and continents and time spinning fast. With a map in your pocket and the world at your feet, is it chance or direction when two people meet? For some it is luck that their paths intertwine, for others it's clear that they crossed by design. But whatever it is that turns single to double, it's like finding the last little piece of the puzzle. It's a bit of a mystery, something hidden inside, as strong and invisible as the moon's pull on the tide. Something that comes suddenly, hits you like a wave. In others it grows slowly, building stage by stage. It's one of so many extraordinary things, like how a silver white winter will always melt into spring, and how one word with 4 letters, when you write it on a page, can change you completely even though you're the same. When lyrics find their melody, it's like someone always knew that combining them together could create a perfect tune. 2 steps right beside you when the path is unknown, a hand squeezing yours that feels just like home. We are only just people on a globe so vast, full of oceans and continents and time spinning fast. With a map in your pocket and the world at your feet, something special can happen when 2 people meet.
Beautifully read and beautifully written. Well done, you. Now, clearly, that all of you are here means you've made the cut. Congratulations. You are very important to Emma and Scott. That's why you're here. You represent a rich tapestry of personalities and journeys through life yourself. So, let's now turn our attention to who Emma and Scott are as individuals and as a couple. Emma described herself to me as adventure-loving and organised, while Scott describes himself as enthusiastic and energetic. He can be mischievous too, which I think we can see at work in his use of the word precise to describe his soon-to-be wife. And indeed, Emma, in her own words, talking about how much she loves planning holidays, said to me, "It isn't a holiday if there isn't a holiday timetable spreadsheet." Is that right? Yeah. That's right, that's very true. Now, while mentioning likes and dislikes, Emma told me that she loves discovering new places, especially through the effective implementation of a flawless itinerary, whereas Scott said he loves to run fast, eat tacos, and wind up his nephews. So, there is balance here. You can hear the balance. You can see how they complement one another, even in their dislikes. Emma doesn't enjoy Scott spilling the contents of those tacos onto his trousers, whereas Scott doesn't like being tidy, clearly. You see? Harmony. Now, when they first met, they were both attracted to each other's passionate enthusiasm for the many interests they have in common, but to tell the story of their relationship, of how they fell in love and how things grew to this point today, I am delighted to say that it is in fact Miles who has written this story himself, and is now going to share it with us. Thank you, Miles.
With a bit of help from me. Scott and Emma first met on the evening of Thursday, the 7th of October, 2021, at O'Connor's Bar in Cannon Mills, Edinburgh. Scott selflessly identified a bar very close to Emma's flats and promises with no ulterior motive, and travelled across Edinburgh to meet her there. Over drinks, they spoke for hours about shared interests, travels, and multiple historic near-close encounters, such as both being in New York for their respective 30th birthdays at the same time, and at the same baseball game, and having lived in flats a few doors apart from each other in Aberdeen. Emma's first impression of Scott was that he was kind, genuine, and put her at instant ease, and was extremely enthusiastic about everything he spoke about. Scott's first impression of Emma was that she had lots of things in common with him, and after that first date, he told me that she was very smart, beautiful, and good fun, with the one reservation that he might be in for a few expensive dates. After that first date, the following meetups were walking up Carlton Hill, going for sushi, doing the Cramond Park Run, which Scott won, and then ran back to find Emma and finish again with her, doing a cave fit class together, going curling, and going to a Scotland-Japan rugby game. Nevertheless, even with the regular contact, Scott didn't get an invite to, now sister-in-law, Hannah's 30th birthday party, after just over a month of dating. Not wanting anything to get in the way of the birthday party going to plan, Emma insisted that Scott complete and provide photographic evidence of a negative COVID test every time before they met up for a date in the lead-up to the 30th birthday party. At the time, Scott was confidently convinced that he would shortly be receiving this invite from Emma to the said surprise birthday. However, despite his best efforts, the day of the birthday party arrived with no invite to be seen. In Hannah's birthday card since her 30th, Scott now inevitably includes a comment saying he's very glad that he's now allowed to be invited along to her celebrations. Scott officially asked Emma to be his girlfriend at the Hogmanay Bells on the 1st of January 2022. The plan had been for Emma to go to Scott's flat for the first time early evening on 31st of December, and they were going to cook before walking up in the Pentlands to view the fireworks at midnight. However, things didn't quite go to plan, because within 10 minutes of arriving at Scott's flat, Emma sliced through her finger with a knife whilst chopping an onion, and dinner preparation was abandoned to head to the minor injuries clinic at A&E. A couple of hours later, they were back in the flat with Emma's hand bandaged together, and therefore solely reliant on Scott to take the role of head chef. Emma was exceedingly impressed that Scott's cooking skills were well above par, and he produced restaurant-quality falafel wraps. Scott says, thanks to Emma's dad for setting a very low bar for male cooking competency. I apologise that for Emma. Apologies, Ramsey, including that. Scott moved into Emma's flat in Cannon Mills, Edinburgh in September 2022, following their first trip abroad together to Rome. Emma's main adjustments were finding storage space for circa 50 pairs of Scott's trainers and constantly feeling like Gretel from Hansel and Gretel, but rather than following a trail of breadcrumbs, Emma was following a trail of debris around the flat that inevitably led to Scott, clad in grass and dirt from a run up a hill. Scott's main adjustments were learning to plump up decorative cushions on the sofa before going to bed every night and making the bed every morning to a military-grade standard. Scott has not yet passed basic training. One of Emma's favourite things about living with Scott is when he comes home from work, he will wrap his arms around her and ask all about her day, and no matter how her day has been, it's instantly better when he does that. One of Emma's least favourite things about living with Scott is how much he loves eating toast, because there's always an array of breadcrumbs to be cleared up on the kitchen counter. One of Scott's favourite things about living with Emma is her magic flat. He can leave any of his things in the flat, then magically it will somehow end up tidied up. He still doesn't understand how this happens, but is glad it does. And Emma's cooking is also fantastic, amazing veggie meals every night, followed by a bowl of berries. One of Scott's least favourite things about living with Emma is that he can't cook chicken. One of the moments Emma recalls knowing how much she loved Scott and how much he cared for her was not long after Scott had moved in. That night, Emma had gone to bed before Scott, probably because Scott was engrossed watching reruns of the greatest curling shots from the 95 Men's World Curling Championships. And therefore, she hadn't had the opportunity to rectify the deflated cushions with him still sitting on them. When lying in bed, she heard Scott turning off the TV, and she then heard a thumping, plumping sound from the lounge, and she knew that Scott was voluntarily plumping up the cushions the way that she would have done it. Scott had been well trained. Scott's plan for the perfect occasion to ask for Emma's hand in marriage was to propose just before her birthday last year, so that they could then announce the engagement to their families the next day, showing Scott's confidence in his presumption that his proposal would be met with an affirmative response. On Emma's birthday the year before in 2022, they had both played table tennis in Inverleith Park, in the sunshine, and both being competitive, had taken a video of themselves to count their rallies. Scott decided to recreate the situation for the proposal on luckily an equally perfect sunny summer's evening. On the evening of Thursday 22nd, June 2023, Scott led Emma for an evening walk wearing his shirt and a backpack. Emma was initially suspicious of the shirt and backpack combo, but when she realised that they were heading for Inverleith Park, she guessed that table tennis would be on the cards, followed by a birthday dinner. She assumed Scott was giving her the opportunity for a rematch after him beating her the previous year. At an opportune moment during a game, Scott said he would set up the video, again, to count their rallies compared to the previous year. Little did she know that at this point, he covertly switched the table tennis ball to one on which he had written the proposal question. Emma was so engrossed in the match that it took Scott multiple serves and prompts to get her to realise that the ball was no longer an ordinary table tennis ball and in fact had the question, "Emma, will you marry me?" written on it. When Emma did eventually realise the ball had been switched and read it, she was caught totally by surprise. I've seen the video evidence. And while she obviously immediately said yes, spent the next 10 minutes in complete shock, not quite believing that she was engaged. Scott had well and truly executed the flawless implementation of a plan. No wonder Emma said yes to him.
Well done, Miles.
Thank you.
Miles, thank you for doing that and for doing that so well. That was wonderful. So, that is the journey that Scott and Emma have taken to be standing in front of you right now. And it makes me very happy to tell you we've arrived at the heart of the ceremony where Scott and Emma are going to say their wedding vows, their lifelong promises to one another, and then become husband and wife. Now, because all of you are so important to them, they have made the excellent decision that it is you who are going to make the first promise. This is how it's going to work. I'm going to put 3 questions to you together, and at the end, if you agree, you will all loudly say back to us, "We do." Okay? Great. Here we go. Do all of you gathered here today promise to support and encourage Scott and Emma in their lifelong commitment to each other? Do you promise to be there for them in the difficult times, to support and encourage them, and to be there in the good times, to appreciate and enjoy life with them? We do. Nicely done. And I should have mentioned that a verbal contract is binding, and under humanist rules, you are formally committed to showing Emma and Scott your best Kaylee moves on the dance floor so that you can help make this an evening of celebrations they won't ever forget. So I can see you're delighted with that. Excellent. Good. Scott and Emma, are you now ready to make your wedding vows before you exchange rings and the legal declarations?
Yes.
Good. Miles, could you collect the oathing stone from whoever may have it on the front row? Now, Emma and Scott have written their own vows, and they did it in secret. So this is the first time they'll be hearing it from each other. Miles, could you pass the oathing stone to Emma and Scott? That's it. You hold your hands together. Scott, I believe you are going to go first. Yes. There you go, Scott. As loud as you can, my friend.
Okay. I love Emma's attention to detail. She is very precise. I love that she'll go into the tiny specifics of everything that will make days out and occasions more special for everyone. The effort that Emma puts into events and occasions makes everything better for everyone involved. This also makes her an intimidating prospect to write wedding vows for, as I know I'm up against it, so I hope these are up to scratch. With that in mind, Emma also manages to get the best out of me. I am a happier, more confident and disciplined and tidier man because of Emma's presence and impact. I also love Emma's resilience, robustness and strength. I've never seen anyone with the same level of psychological strength to power through at work for 14 hours a day, for weeks on a row, or jump on an 8-hour flight that she's terrified of because there is a great brunch place with a matcha latte on the other side. The next big challenge will be to get your wee car out on the Edinburgh bypass one day. I love that we are a great team and that Emma's strengths counter my weaknesses, and vice versa. Together, we are a clean and tidy couple that can drive on the bypass. I promise to be by your side every step of the way through life. I promise I will always try and make you laugh, and I promise to warm up your icy cold hands and feet when required.
Well done, Scott. There you go, Emma. There's 2 pages there.
It seemed so surreal to me to sit down to write my wedding vows. I grew up watching The Sound of Music and 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, and I dreamt as a little girl of one day getting married to the person I was meant to be with. But as I got older, I know that a part of me lost faith in the magic of finding someone. But little did I know, I was just waiting to meet a kind, thoughtful, funny, handsome, muddy, mountain-running curler who somehow it felt as if I'd known forever. I fell for your boyish adventurousness, your boundless energy, your kind-heartedness, and the fact that your family and friends are the most important thing to you. From the night I met you, you made me feel the most comfortable I felt getting to know someone. To me, you're the perfect combination of everything. You have the most warm and genuine personality, and you make me feel calm and completely at ease when I'm with you. You have an exceptionally quick wit and make me laugh effortlessly. You are dedicated and fiercely committed to every endeavour you undertake, and I know I can rely on you for anything. You're loving and compassionate, and being with you has made me the happiest I've ever been. I can't help but smile when I think or talk about you. I know that making these promises to you today is one of the biggest things I'll do in my life, but it was also the easiest decision I've ever made, saying yes to you. I promise to explore and adventure with you and to always make the most of what the world has to offer us. I promise to be the person you can depend and count upon always. I promise to build a life together with you that's always full of fun and excitement. And I promise to do everything I can to make you feel as happy and as loved as you never fail to make me feel.
Beautifully done. I don't think you looked at that card once. You really knew that. Wonderful. Well said, both of you. Now, as Emma and Scott are about to exchange wedding rings, I'm just going to stand off to the side so we've got room for Miles, okay? So don't feel weird I'm standing here. Let's very briefly consider what a wedding ring really stands for. It is an unbroken circle. It is a lasting symbol of trust, love, and support. Emma and Scott, may your wedding rings be an enduring reminder of the love that you share and the promises that you've just made to each other today and etched into that stone, which I will put for safekeeping here. Miles, if you could step forward, please, and ready the rings. Emma and Scott, you are about to make the legal declarations that in that moment you will become husband and wife. Are you ready?
Yes.
Miles, please pass Emma's ring to Scott. It's a small one. And Scott, if you could take Emma's left hand in yours and repeat exactly after me while looking at her. I, Scott MacLeod,
I, Scott MacLeod,
in the presence of my family and friends,
in the presence of my family and friends,
accept you, Emma Victoria Fraser,
accept you, Emma Victoria Fraser,
in marriage.
in marriage.
With this ring,
With this ring,
I join my life with yours today,
I join my life with yours today.
with an open and trusting heart.
With an open and trusting heart,
Whatever we encounter,
whatever we encounter,
let us encounter it together.
let us encounter it together.
Well done, Scott. Ring on. Miles, if you could now pass Scott's ring to Emma. And Emma, if you could take Scott's left hand and repeat exactly after me while looking at him. I, Emma Victoria Fraser,
I, Emma Victoria Fraser,
in the presence of my family and friends,
in the presence of my family and friends,
accept you, Scott MacLeod,
accept you, Scott MacLeod,
in marriage.
in marriage.
With this ring,
With this ring,
I join my life with yours today,
I join my life with yours today,
with an open and trusting heart.
with an open and trusting heart.
Whatever we encounter,
Whatever we encounter,
let us encounter it together.
let us encounter it together.
Emma and Scott, you have now both made a solemn and a binding contract, and by virtue of these declarations, made in my presence and in the presence of both your witnesses and guests, I have much pleasure in declaring you married. Congratulations! You may kiss and hug and do as you will. Well done. Well done. It's now time for Emma and Scott to sign the marriage schedule, which in Scotland is a legal and a historical document. For that reason, two very special people, Emma's sister Hannah and Scott's sister Rianne, have been chosen to be the witnesses. So sit back, enjoy the wonderful music from Elsa, which was a total surprise for Scott, and we will be back to bring the ceremony to a close in just a few moments' time. Thank you. So I can happily confirm that Scott and Emma have signed on the dotted line and bound their names together as a married couple. Woohoo! We've now arrived at the end of the ceremony, after which you're invited for drinks on the front lawn.
Yeah.
On the front lawn, and photos which will be coordinated by Ricky. Ricky, who's on the... There he is, there's Ricky. So listen out for Ricky, and he will keep you right. Now, on behalf of Emma and Scott and myself, thank you for making this such a special ceremony today. We wish you well in your own lives, now and for the future, and I hope that you have a wonderful time with the rest of the celebrations today. Let these very last words be for Scott and Emma, of course, because having got to know you a bit as a couple, I am genuinely certain that your marriage will nurture your love for one another and be the beating heart of your happiness in all the years to come. Finally then, if you are able, please be upstanding, as it gives me great pleasure to ask you to welcome Emma and Scott with your warmest applause and cheers as I introduce them to you for the very first time as Mr. MacLeod and Mrs. Fraser MacLeod.
the stride. You do the walk, yeah, you do the walk of life. You do the walk of life. Woo.
There are stories I've heard told of an unfamiliar road where an evening sun hangs gold in the skyline. In a quiet unknown town, there is solace to be found in the unforsaken hours of the twilight. There's a girl and I can see her far away from this frontier. 'Cause I wanna dance to the Highlands, girl.
Hello everyone, I'm Ramsey, Emma's dad. I'd like to welcome all of you to Emma and Scott's wedding. Let me introduce you to the top table. Firstly, my wife and mother of the bride, Pamela. After 40 years of marriage, you still look as radiant today as you did on our wedding day. Then Scott's mother, Mary, who's looking amazing. And Scott's father, Keith. You're looking pretty good as well, yeah? Then my younger daughter, Hannah, who's the chief leading lady. And last but not least, Scott's best men, Jamie and Miles. Before I continue, Hannah would like to say a few words to her sister and new brother-in-law.
A few of my favourite things about you. You're strong, brave and caring, determined and real. You're organised and thoughtful. How grateful I feel to have such a bright light as part of my life. So many happy times, but when there's been strife or troubles or worries, you're there by my side. There's no tear or fear that from you I'd hide. The words naughty and bossy come quickly to mind. Insanely organised, efficient and kind. You're uplifting and encouraging with unrivaled precision, my first port of call for a tricky decision. You set a high standard, you have raised the bar. I don't tell you enough what an inspiration you are. Your adventurous soul burns brighter than ever. May life with Scott see you journey together. He's energetic, witty and full of life. He must have great taste if he made you his wife. An outdoorsy young man who just loves to run, and Emma's the queen of organised fun. You make a beautiful couple, a perfect pair. May health and happiness the two of you share. But it's very important and must not be forgot. The 16th of March is Sisters' Day, Scott. A sacred day, Emma's own creation, a symbol of her love and dedication. I said it years ago, and again I will say, I love my sister. She's naughty almost every day.
Thanks, Hannah, for those lovely words to Emma and Scott. I hadn't realised until now that you have such a talent for poetry. Emma, I've watched you grow from a remarkable young girl to a remarkable woman, and I'm overjoyed to see how beautiful and happy you look today. You were in a hurry to start your life. The nurses suddenly realised your birth was imminent, And I remember them pushing Pamela on a bed at speed to the delivery room with me running ahead to hold the doors open. You were born seconds later, and you've been in a hurry ever since. trying as much as possible to fit everything into it every day of your life. You are a very much loved and adored first granddaughter to both sets of grandparents and brought great joy into their lives and ours. You have a brilliant mind. Looking back, I think the first glimpse of that was your imagination and your childhood need for stimulation and action every waking moment. I clearly remember you as a toddler watching Cinderella and then role-playing by trying and failing again and again to fit your slipper on the feet of all 4 grandparents. When you became a sister, you had the perfect companion to role-play your imagination. However, a lot of the time, that imagination got you into trouble. We've all just heard, I love my sister, but she's naughty nearly every day. I remember a family ski holiday. Don't think I need this. The girls' bedroom had a gap between the bunk bed and the wall, about the same width as 6-year-old Hannah was high. Pamela and I were in the living room when we heard a scream from the bedroom. We rushed to find Hannah struggling to hold a plank position between the wall and her top bunk of the bed. Big sister Emma had demonstrated a plank from the safety of her bottom bunk and then challenged poor Hannah to do the same. Danger to your sister aside, I'm really happy that you and Hannah continue to spend lots of time together, and also, of course, in recent years with Scott and Matt. We've also heard you're the queen of organized fun, something that anyone on holiday with Emma will experience. As a child, Emma loved family holidays and recorded events in her holiday diaries. I reread some of them recently, and I was amazed that every day is summarized and has a rating of how it has how cool was that day. So you've got a rating on every day. Holiday plans have now replaced holiday diaries. And I didn't realize when you did your vows that I've obviously got this right, because it's exactly what you said about each other. Emma does a lot of pre-holiday research, just as we heard, on sightseeing, shopping, and restaurants, and then organizes a plan of daily events that start early and finish late with no gaps to relax. Woe betide anyone on the holiday that suggests deviating from the plan or substituting chill time for organized fun time. However, the research and attention to detail are so good that several of our friends now use Emma for their holiday plans rather than travel guides and websites. 100% commitment is a cliche, but it's certainly true for you. Mum and I are so proud of all your achievements. Your commitment at school and university, and more recently getting EDF's acquisitions done, your commitment to friendships and how much they mean to you, your commitment to personal fitness, but we're somewhat alarmed at your commitment to buy every dress from Suzanne's online shop. For those of you not in the know, Suzanne is a Parisian fashion shop. Ladies, Emma has memorized the web address, so ask her later. Your family and friends also appreciate your thoughtfulness and effort in buying such meaningful gifts and birthdays for birthdays and Christmases. You are amazing, but you have one shortcoming: a lack of common sense. A recent example was Emma's car gave a dashboard warning saying, low tire pressure, unsafe to drive above 80 miles per hour. This means a Mini Cooper S is designed to drive above 80 miles per hour. However, Emma only drives in Edinburgh City, as we heard, and of course at the speed limit. So Emma's logic-based reaction was, I only drive at 20, so I can ignore this warning. A few weeks later, the tyre was almost completely flat. But luckily, Hannah noticed it and told Emma to go straight to the garage. I now feel a great sense of relief that I can formally pass responsibility to you, Scott, for Emma's lack of common sense. So now let me turn to Scott, my new son-in-law. As many of you know, Emma sets very high standards. So on my first meeting with Scott, I knew he'd already ticked every box on Emma's long list of boyfriend requirements. However, like every daughter's father, I was keen to do my own assessment. I'm quite an analytical person. Those either side of me have been known to say I live in Ramsey's world. So here are a few of my findings. My first finding was how easy Scott was to talk to. He's definitely a people person, and he continues to impress me with how he engages with people, usually finding common interests or experiences to talk about. My second finding was Scott's energy. Also, we heard about that earlier. He's got an abundance of energy that radiates from him as enthusiasm. My third takeaway was Scott's commitment. We also heard about this. He runs almost every day, rain or shine. He's driven the length and breadth of Scotland many times to enter every park run in the nation, winning almost all of them, and has climbed nearly all the Munros. The Fraser's guests today probably don't know that for many years, Scott was a member of the Scotland curling team and played at international tournaments across the world. That's also evidence of his commitment and talent. Soon after Scott moved into Emma's flat, I asked him one-to-one if he liked the flat and living together. He gave me a concerned look, and I could see he was struggling to find the correct words. I immediately thought, oh no. But then he said, it's a very nice flat, but the tidiness, it's extreme. That makes even more sense after hearing on the Stag that in his bachelor days, Scott used the bedroom floor as a wardrobe. And we've also heard today how he's challenged with tidiness. However, I'm reliably informed that Scott now likes tidy and can even plump cushions, so I'm convinced that he and Emma will compromise if needed. 2 years after Scott came into our lives, I thought I knew him well, but then I went to Skye for his stag weekend. And I saw another aspect of Scott. I'm not referring to seeing Scott dressed as a fairy. His friends forced him to run 5K to the Skye fairy pools wearing fairy wings and a fairy tiara. What I did see was the strong bond that Scott has with his friends and the respect that they have for him. This is clear evidence of the brilliant upbringing that Scott and his sister Rianne have had from Mary and Keith. I think you'll all agree that Emma and Scott are a well-matched couple. They share common interests in sport, fitness, and travel. They put huge effort into everything they do, and they obviously adore each other. So my advice to you both is simply this: continue to fill each day with everything you love, enjoy traveling and exploring together, and keep making each other happy with all your friends and family around you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses and join me in wishing the newlyweds a long, a healthy, and a very happy future together. To Emma and Scott.
So next up, we simply have the main man himself, the groom, Scott McLeod.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your kind words, Ramsey. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that all. And well done, Hannah, as well. That was a very good poem. Matt, you have made MC and look easy. It must have been all that time you had to prepare, eh? All right. Now, before I start my speech, on behalf of my wife and I, we would like to welcome you all to our wedding. Thank you so much for travelling to this amazing venue to share our special day with us. It truly means a lot to us both. Everyone will have travelled some distance today to be here, but there are a few guests that have come from far-flung, glamorous destinations, such as Paris, Valencia, and Stornoway. Very fancy. So thanks to everyone for making the journey. Now, my beautiful wife, who is looking incredible today, she's been excellently supported by her team of wonderful leading ladies. We have Jenny, Helen, and Hannah. They've all played a massive part in Emma's life and have always been there by her side. Today, the leading ladies were tasked with getting Emma ready and organised on time, knowing Emma wouldn't have been too much problem, but also trying to keep her calm and relaxed, which, to be fair, probably more of a problem. But you've done a great job anyway. Thank you so much for always being there for her. A round of applause for them all. They look great today. Hannah is Emma's sister and our chief leading lady. I'm fairly sure that Hannah and I will have both had the same panicked realisation at some point over the past few months in the lead up to this wedding. Something along the lines of, oh God, how am I going to write/plan/organise something that is up to the standard that Emma produces for us? But with Emma's 2 surprise hen do's and the lovely words we just heard, and the surprise artist as well, that was really good, I can confirm that you've done yourself proud, and thank you so much for catching any of the slack that I miss. Now to my side, I have 2 groomsmen. Just look at Angus Ramsey there, an absolute stud of a man. So back when we were 17 years old, I made a bet with Angus that he'd be bald by the time he was 30. And as you can tell by his lusciously thick blonde locks, that is a bet I lost by a considerable margin. So the other one, Buchanan Grant, I don't want him to feel left out, so obviously a stud as well. Experienced in crowd control, and after multiple years of living with a teenage Scott McLeod, also a professional at organising chaos. There's not a man more overqualified to be an usher at a wedding. He is the most polite man you'll ever meet, but he also loves whiskey, so I reckon if you buy him a few drams, he'll be topless and dancing on the tables in no time. Thank you both for getting everyone to their seats safely, and also Buck, very nice jacket. Now to the best men. You did an outstanding job organising an amazing stag do. For anyone who doesn't know, but you do know, we went up to Carbos and Isle of Skye and tackled 3 of the Munros on the Coolin Ridge. I'm sure to a lot of people, hanging off the side of a cliff in rain, high winds, and 30-foot visibility doesn't sound like much fun. But fortunately for me, these are the 2 men that know me the best, and they lined something up that was right up my street. The stag do had all my favourite things. Favourite things. Good food, some drinking, great socialising, and of course grappling to the side of a precarious mountain where Miles was relentlessly bullied by the mountain guide for 6 hours straight. Miles Bax, phenomenal job with the ceremony. Round of applause for Miles. You did excellently there. I'm aware that taking the ceremony isn't the classic job of a best man, but I can't think of a man that would be more up for the challenge. Miles Bax is filled with so much enthusiasm that he can convince almost anyone to do almost anything. So everyone, be aware, or you might find yourself substituting in a cricket match tomorrow afternoon, somehow. Miles also does put up a good fight against Buchanan for the title of most polite man. But unfortunately for Miles, he's beaten down into 2nd place because of his complete lack of consideration towards me in cross-country races, where he fairly frustratingly and consistently beats me. And to Jamie Sibbald. Sure, Jamie doesn't have the brains or the athletic ability that my other groomsmen have. But what Jamie does have is unrivaled levels of charisma. Well, in my opinion anyway. If there is one man in the world that I would choose to make me laugh, it would be Jamie. I won't go into too much detail about our history, as I'm aware he's got a whole speech on the subject, but I was Jamie's best man at his wedding a few years ago, and I really hope that whilst writing his speech, that he's remembered all the lovely, genuine and nice things I said in mine on his wedding day. But just in case he hasn't, he's a rogue and a liar, and don't trust him at all. So, to Emma's parents, Pamela and Ramsey, thanks very much for raising such a brilliant and tolerant daughter. From an outsider's perspective, meeting your girlfriend's parents for the first time at 5 a.m. at an airport check-in desk, destined for a long weekend away together, might come across as a fairly daunting prospect. But I can honestly say, from the very second I met you both, I have felt so comfortable and welcomed into the family. Thank you very much. I'm also very pleased to give Ramsey a hand and officially even up the teams on the male v female Fraser family battle. Although unfortunately, I still think it's a battle, regardless of the topic, that Ramsey, Matt and I will always lose. So to my mum and dad, I would like to thank my mum and dad, Mary and Keith as well. They are both extremely hard-working people, and if there's one trait that their parenting style was designed to instill, it was probably work ethic, which I like to think has rubbed off at least a little bit anyway, but maybe not quite so much. They have both given me unrelenting support throughout my life, whether it be school, university, curling, running, or just general advice. Saying that, even with all their guidance, there have been a few areas in my life that I've had to take my own path and break some new ground. This predominantly involved growing anything above the height of 5'2". Sorry, was that 5'3"? That was my mistake there. Now, 24 hours ago, I had some gifts in this little container over here, so hopefully they're still there. Okay, so the gifts. So for Mary McLeod, mother of the groom, and Pamela Fraser, mother of the bride, we have a gift for you each. So which way round does it go? Pamela, there you go. And Mum, there you go.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you both know who researched and selected this gift, and I'm sure you'd both be relieved to hear it wasn't me. So a small token of our appreciation to you both for your assistance in the run-up to the wedding. There are also 2 sets of earplugs in there as well, so if you just stick them in before Jamie's speech, that'd be great, thanks, sir. Now to the VIP of the day, my beautiful, stunning, caring, thoughtful and wonderful wife, Emma. Woo! Emma, first of all, thank you very much for agreeing to marry me. It really was key in making this day possible. Ever since we first met, you've made everything in my life better, more fun, and more enjoyable. It is an honour to now call you my wife, and I'm so excited to see where life will take us in the future. But before the future, I'd like to cast things back to a couple days before I first met Emma. I was in Edinburgh, and I'd organised to meet up with Mr. Kenny F. Ray for a drink. See that guy there in the middle? That's him there, okay? So over the course of the evening, we discussed a number of different topics. Kenny was telling me how he could beat me in a sprint because he's really powerful. He also reminded me that he's really good at table tennis, and he also said that he was pivotal to our team winning the Aberdeen Super League Curling League in 2016. But anyway, the conversation eventually got around to girls, and being the absolute lad that I am, I got my phone out to show Kenny the girl I was about to go on a date with. I opened up Hinge, to anyone who doesn't know, is a dating application, and showed it to Kenny to get his insightful approval on Emma's profile. He looked intently at my phone. Now I'm impersonating Kenny. Name, Emma, good name. Oh, a lawyer, she must be smart. Very good, Scott. She'll be smarter than you know. 33 years old, good age, very appropriate. Looks like she's into running and stuff. You're on to a winner here, Scott. But then Kenny scrolls down further and comes across the dietary requirements section. Pescatarian. Oh, don't know, Scott, mate. That's going to be a problem. Don't you love chicken? And the answer is yes, I absolutely do love chicken. But thankfully for me, the random girl on a dating app 3 years ago also has a phenomenal eye for all things food, and has opened a whole new world beyond chicken that I barely knew existed. So as an example of the weird but amazing food that Emma's introduced me to, all of your table names are after a dish that myself and my wife have had somewhere across the world over the last couple of years. That is a prime example of the detail that Emma puts into everything in her life. In my vows, I mentioned that it was a great feeling to be part of a team with Emma. Although when it comes to the wedding, the team hasn't been quite evenly balanced. I think it'd be fair to say Emma has been the Lionel Messi, full of class, thought, precision, dragging us through to success, while I've been more like Ryan Porteous, running around in circles, throwing in destructive tackles aimlessly but enthusiastically. With an example to follow. Emma, being the absolute queen of organisation that she is, operates everything to a strict military schedule, as mentioned previously. The plan is the plan. So about 12 days ago, after an evening of clearing out every piece of furniture in my house that I don't live in, but I'm about to sell, I come home to the flat where I live with Emma. I said to Emma, you know what? I've got a bit of a scratchy throat. Emma sharply replied, you better not have COVID, our wedding is next week. I said, Emma, I definitely don't have COVID. Emma said, well, I think you should do a test. I said, I don't have COVID. She firmly said, do a test. I've heard marriage is about compromise, or is it doing as you're told? So I did a test, and I had COVID. This was not on the agenda. I was immediately exiled, very understandably, to my cold, furnitureless house to ensure I didn't give Emma COVID before our wedding. And as I was lying on a mattress, on the floor, curled up in a sleeping bag, with my sniffly nose and weak cough, just after finishing my dinner with a disposable wooden spork that I'd stolen from Tesco only hours earlier, because I'd also sold all my cutlery, I thought to myself, I hope to God she says yes next week. But as I'm making this speech, it sounds like everything's gone to plan. Emma is the most caring, resilient, thoughtful, and lovely person I know. Emma, you are the number one person in my life, and I am so happy when we are together. I can't imagine my life without you. Now, can we all please raise a glass to my wonderful wife, Emma? Okay, that's my speech.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
Right. So the tone for the whole wedding so far has been quite high. So I think there's going to be a dramatic drop here, but bear with me, okay? So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie, I'm best man 0.5, and it is my great honour to stand here beside Scott, my dear friend, and celebrate his marriage to the wonderful, kind, beautiful bride we all know as Emma. Needless to say, I was absolutely thrilled to be asked to be best man for Scott and Emma, although I can't help but feel aggrieved at my choice of co-best man. When Scott took on the same role for me at my wedding, he was paired with my brother, who is virtually a mute and has about as much charisma as a chair. Scott, however, paired me with, as you all know, the funny, witty, all-round nice guy, Miles Bax. So I'm committed in my position as villain for the day. As best man, you get some insight into the goings-on leading up to the big event. It's a little bit like being backstage at a beauty pageant with all the tantrums and screaming, and makeup getting thrown across the room. But after a wee sip of whiskey and a hug, the groom calmed himself down. And the day's been running pretty smooth so far. On a personal level, I'm particularly excited today as I haven't been to a Scottish wedding in a long time, and you can't help but feel patriotic about a group of people with hairy legs and no underwear enjoying the Caledonian breeze. A toast to the leading ladies. Moving on. I actually saw Emma a long time before I met her. Scott excitedly shared a photo from her dating profile on the lead up to their first date. Now, I think Scott is a great guy, but it blows my mind that somebody would agree to meet up with him after seeing a photo of his pasty white stupid face. Anyhow, one date followed another, and myself and his other friends were constantly chasing for updates. Their relationship moved swiftly but organically, and it has been clear from early on that Scott was throwing us all into it. I think as his friends, we were as excited as him about the prospect of him settling down with somebody who is, sorry, I've lost my place. Someone who works hard, who knows what they want, someone who could keep him in check, and someone that was allowed to vote. The first time I actually met Emma, they were visiting Cheshire. I told you. I'm hoping to go up a bit in a minute. So. First time I met Emma, they were visiting Cheshire to do running. I'm well aware that there are a lot of serious runners here today, so I'm not going to make too many jokes about it. It's a very healthy and beneficial hobby. In fact, I read somewhere that running 8 miles burns off the same amount of calories as having sex. I'm not an experienced runner, but 8 miles in 30 seconds seems like a bit of a stretch. Back to Emma, though. I really enjoyed our first meeting, Emma, and I can absolutely see how Scott found his match in you. I'm sure we're all aware of that by how affectionately Scott spoke of in his speech. So on that note, many of us know why Scott was drawn to Emma, but what does Scott bring to the table? I'd like to share some traits that I believe are key aspects of his character. So firstly, his passion. So for many here today, we know his passions to be running, bagging the occasional Monroe, and posting point-of-view photos of himself and his now wife in front of expensive plates of food. For those that have known him longer, we know that his passions, he's just a passionate guy, full stop. When Scott develops an interest in something, he doesn't explore it in half measures. Curling, weightlifting, the Clash, every single word, even the Spanish bits. Doodle jump, Catan, geography, or should I say geography? The list goes on. Whatever they may be, Scott doesn't explore them flippantly. Emma, perhaps to date, his greatest passion is you. There's no length that this man won't go to ensure your happiness. And I'm not saying every day will be a fairy tale, but it'll be pretty close. And I know he will support you in all you do. He will champion your passions, and together, your shared goals will always be at the forefront of his mind. Secondly on my list is Scott's lack of impulse control, or we could call it spontaneity. This is something Scott assures me that he's got a measure of now, and it's far more in control. And there's no doubt that Scott has the capacity to be a sensible, serious and considerate man. However, there are times, granted alcohol is involved, where Scott can be wildly unpredictable. Scott reminds me of my children when I tell them not to run, so he runs faster. Then I run after them, and now they think it's a game. The difference is, as previously stated, Scott is a very good runner. So there is little to be done in the way of averting chaos as he runs towards the danger. Emma knows this trait well, as evidenced the night before our stag do, where we went climbing the Coolins. As Scott was drifting off to the lilting tones of a Cillian Murphy sleep story, Emma abruptly seized him and bluntly instructed, "Don't have fun on the mountain." Clear, unambiguous directions that should allow for little impulsiveness. Well, Emma, fortunately for you on this occasion, Scott's impulsivity went by the wayside, and all attention was elsewhere. Miles. My co-best man here, who arranged our Coolin climb, doesn't know how to walk on rocks. Adding to the context Scott provided earlier, this was Scott's stag do, but for the entirety of the climb, our guide kept Miles roped to his hip and accused him of almost killing us. I think the line was, "Miles, if you step wrong here, we're all dead." I don't want to split hairs, Miles, but some would say that makes me their best man. Regardless of Scott's precautious behaviour on the mountains, he has a past peppered with wildly unpredictable decisions. Often these are feats of strength or speed. I've watched him climb monuments and get temporarily stuck, taunt the police only to apologise softly once scolded. He's chased women within hours of meeting them, one of his many unconventional approaches to flirting. Thankfully, this was pre-park running, Scott, and she escaped. He once hit the 200 button when I was withdrawing £20 for a student night. We spent it all, thanks Dad. And perhaps my favourite is the call I got many years ago at 2 a.m. He was out of breath when I answered the phone, and he proceeded to tell me that a guy and a girl were arguing outside of the club at closing time. Nothing to do with Scott, at all. But Scott saw an opportunity to flex. Hearing that they were arguing about cheating, Scott yells out, "He's been shagging someone else!" As Scott hoped, the man gave chase. But Scott was a seasoned runner at this point. Not, however, as seasoned as he thought. Scott did escape the man. But only just. His heels nipped out long enough for the panic to set in. Nevertheless, all of the narrow escapes have fed into forming this impulsive, risk-taking, calm, cool and collected man that never misses an opportunity to show off how physically dominant he can be. Now, before I share the final trait, I have some other words put forward by Scott's friends, some complementing what I've already discussed, in no particular order. Determined, calm, centered, competitive, he's looking good, inquisitive, obsessive, randy. Randy. I looked up the definition of randy, and there were two. The first, having a rude, aggressive manner. The second, sexually aroused or excited. Could I get a show of hands if you find Scott to be rude and aggressive? Well, that clears that up. My third and possibly most relatable trait for all that know him is his laid-back nature. In all areas of his life, this easygoing attitude exists, from the way he handles conflict through to the way he approaches deadlines, and perhaps most notably, the way he lives. At this point, I'd like to hand you over to Miles briefly. Miles and Scott have a lot in common. They have many of the same hobbies, they live in the same city, and together they have the combined weight of the average man. You'll be... You'll be asking yourself after this why Miles wasn't solitary best man, and before this speech is over, so will Scott. Over to you, Miles.
Thanks, Errol. Okay, so you've already heard enough from me, and how can I follow that, Jamie? So this is a very brief interlude, but I couldn't let this moment pass without sharing a couple of insights into my relationship with Scott. And don't worry, Scott, I won't mention the haircuts circa 2006, the questionable attire, dating mishaps, and the bulking phase, which involved drinking litres of milk following a gym session at Alpha Leisure Centre in Pitlochry. Put it this way, Emma, you would have been glad you were not sharing a bed with him at that stage. In truth, though, Emma, you've picked a fantastic guy. Loyal, hardworking, and in spite of his many achievements, in the words of Limmy, surprisingly down to earth and very funny, you are set for a fantastic future together. I must admit, though, I did have a couple of slight concerns in the early days of your courtship. And audience, do not fear, for Emma and Scott are the perfect match. But knowing Scott as I do, there were a couple of weaknesses in his outlook that had the potential to be a stumbling block in this flourishing romance. In the early days of Emma and Scott being together, Sinead and I, along with our eldest son Finn, met the happy couple at a popular brunch spot, Dishoom. It goes without saying that Emma was looking fantastic. Scott too. He was looking smart, pretty smart I have to say. And much like him picking off my various running PBs in recent years, I felt like I was struggling to compete with this dressing and a quiet sense of sophistication as he ordered his Parsi omelette. Yet, deep down, I felt I knew something that perhaps Emma did not. After the meal, as we said our goodbyes, Sinead turned to me and said, "Emma is definitely the one." I agreed, but I had to say something. Does Emma know that Scott is not very tidy around the house? And apologies, a theme is emerging here. The knowledge was with me throughout numerous flat visits during university years while Scott and I studied either side of the Tay, as well as visits up to Aberdeen, and sorry, Keith and Mary, on occasion when you were on holiday and Scott was entrusted to look after your house whilst we were working at the House of Brewer. Would Scott be able to do the dishes to a required standard when they were to move in together? Fast forward a few months, and I found myself heading towards Emma's flat, with Scott having moved in fairly recently. Whilst I suspected that Emma would have high standards on the living arrangement front, what greeted me was an immaculate living area. We are talking of show home standard. But I should never have doubted Scott. The walls were still white, and as has always been the case, he was able to rise to the challenge and go above and beyond. A truly exceptional performance, so well done, Scott.
Right, buckle in because we're going down again now. Right, now it's great to hear that Scott has been house trained, but Scott and I have lived together a few times. I've lived with him in my parents' house, in his parents' house, in our uni flat, and we've shared his room for a short while after some poor life choices on my part. And I'm not the only one. Many in this room have lived with Scott. Some even got to know him through a house share. I'm going to be blunt now, Emma. Crumbs from toast don't hold a flame to what we've had to deal with. The very fact that he has bothered to unpack his clothes is a sign of a habit that may have been broken. And I could end my speech there. However, vows have been exchanged, and I wouldn't be doing my moral duty as best man if I didn't tell the truth. You see, I was fascinated by the cleanliness of Scott's living arrangements on my last visit to your beautiful flat. I'm well aware that the quality levels and interiors have nothing to do with Scott, but the gleam on the place had me panicking. If Scott McLeod has made such drastic changes, then I'm flat out of excuses. This is very clean, Scott. Always a man of honesty and integrity, Scott told me. Emma sometimes goes away for work. Sometimes it's only for 2 days or 3 days. Hours before she comes home, I am frantically cleaning, washing, putting away, and pillow plumping. So it's as they say, a leopard never changes his spots, and all men are disgusting. So there you go, Emma. That's a brief roundup of Scott McLeod, and all jokes aside, I couldn't be happier for the pair of you. Miles said earlier that Scott has been so happy since he met you, and we can all agree on that. Scott, I genuinely can't put into words how blessed I feel to call you my friend, and you deserve all the happiness the world has to offer. So a toast to the happy couple, Emma and Scott.
You
where the sun shines on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love spent many days on the banks of Loch Lomond. 'Twas there we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep sides of Ben Lomond, with a broken heart, knows no second spring. Resigned, we must be while we're parting. Let's hear it. You'll take my love, and I'll take the Lord, and I'll be in Scotland before you, where me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny